everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific time zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the 4 Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Just a minute. I thought I solved this problem. I didn't. Now I have. Good morning. A short version of said greeting. I am late getting back, and it's my fault. I have been very ill the past week. That's also my fault because I wasn't doing an essential thing. Eating. My Dr. K figured all that out and why I was so weak. And I can't believe it was just that simple. Well, I have to test my stomach sometime. I just can't overdo it. Cheers to you guys. And thanks to you guys for hanging with me Monday and Friday of last week as I was out of the chair. I plan to be in the chair all week this week, awaiting Ryan McCarthy while we have a moment. Some of the other things I'm going to catch y'all up on right now, as the Mavericks had a 30-0 run in the fourth quarter against the Thunder on Saturday, and they lost the game. Oops. The Clippers rallied from 22 down to beat the Warriors, and I'm not surprised at that because the Warriors seem to let teams back into games. It's been true since 2019. Texans wide receiver Tank Dell, boy, I nearly mispronounced that, has a fractured fibula and will be out for the season. And that is so unfortunate because Tank Dell was like putting people to work. You understand? Kristaps Porzingis will miss the Celtics tournament quarterfinal. Kevin Durant passes Moses Malone as now the 10th all-time leading scorer. And finally, Ja Morant has been subpoenaed to testify in a civil lawsuit. I still don't have it all together yet, but as I said, I am waiting for Ryan McCarthy to come in. So while I wait for him to come in, Let me take a few more minutes. Let me take a couple more bites and get organized because I don't want to live on caffeine anymore. That's another thing I've discovered that I've done totally wrong these past 5 weeks. So I'm going to take one more break. I'm going to get some water in me. Yes, water. That cool, refreshing drink that I need so badly. Let me take a sip of this and a sip of water and a couple more bites of one of my sandwiches, and I will be right back.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. You kids on the block. New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck. Matt Damon. Go yourself again. Jason.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color of crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific time zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
All right, welcome back to Snowman in the Morning, 48 after the hour, and Ryan will not be able to make it this morning, so no coffee with McCarthy until next week. He has a very tight window today, and me being late made it even tighter, and I don't want him to miss any chances that he may have at his job right now. So Ryan, take care of business, and I will talk to you next week. Speaking of business, did y'all see the business that the 49ers handed to the Eagles on Sunday? I'm going to admit something aloud that I thought I never would aloud. I repeat, I did not expect that kind of ass whooping. I didn't. I expected this, and the next time we play, whether it's in Philadelphia or in Santa Clara in January, because they will see each other again, I guarantee you they'll see each other again. Wow. That's all I have to say about Sunday. Wow and damn. But then again, it kind of outlines where the Eagles have been getting weaker and where the 49ers have been getting stronger over the course of the season. Here's what I mean. The Eagles have built their defense to be home-wrecking dudes, especially with the addition of Jalen Carter from Georgia. The 49ers snatched up Javon Hargrave from Philadelphia. to make them even stronger across the front line. Now, we all knew it was going to be a collision course. Those of you who watched football and watched the game last year and watched how it ended, talking about the NFC Championship, you knew firsthand it was these two and then everybody else. Let me say that again for the moronic Republic of Cowboy Nation. It was these two teams, Eagles and 49ers, and then everybody else in terms of the NFC. I mean that. You can't tell me that Dallas actually has a shot in hell of competing for an NFC championship with the way, A, they are currently constituted, and B, how they have been playing. But let's talk about this game here and what happened in Philadelphia. The Eagles defense held the 49ers to minus 6 yards in the first quarter. Lowest yardage total ever after the first quarter under Kyle Shanahan. Ever. And then beginning with the second quarter, took off and ran and hid. 14 unanswered points became 21 unanswered points. And then the somewhat fight happened. It was a scuffle between Dre Greenlaw and Eagles head of security. And instead, the Eagles took advantage of all that emotion and stuck it in the end zone and got to within 21-13. 49ers said, okay, you know what? We have an answer. And they never stopped answering. 42-19. I never thought it would get this bad. I mean it. I never thought it would get this bad. 42-19. Just think about that score between two of the best teams. Oh, the hell with the NFC in the NFL. Because Kansas City took a kick in the ass last night at Lambeau Field against Jordan Love of all quarterbacks. I still don't believe in Jordan Love, but that's later. What got me so excited was the 49ers' ability to respond to adversity. The 49ers' response to adversity aided them in the win yesterday in Philadelphia. It aided them in their win. Because all that emotion on the sideline in the third quarter, while the Eagles are making this a one-possession game, mind you, and the 49ers and Deebo Samuel said, to hell with this, we're putting you away right now. And the Eagles never had a response. Jawan Jennings got in on the fun. When he broke a tackle, shoved a defender out of the way, and streaked in for a touchdown, which made it 35-13 at the time. Eagles marched right downfield, made it 35-19. And that's as close as they get. And then Deebo Samuel, I can't say it in full the way I want to, the way my buddy the Playmaker would. Yeah, that's who I could call on. But damn. That damn Deebo Samuel. I'm sorry, but that damn Deebo Samuel, I can't talk this morning, is the most dangerous wide receiver in the league. And not just because of his versatility either. Not just because of his versatility, because of his nerve, because of his talent, and because of what he means to this San Francisco offense. Remember, they played 2 games without Deebo Samuel after he got injured in Cleveland. The same holds true for Trent Williams. Those 2 get back in the lineup, and they're off to the races. Now, everybody wants to bring some stats to me that think they know how to use stats to validate their point, and I can tell you they don't. But after what I saw Sunday, I have a few stats of my own. Since getting healthy during the bye week, they've gone 4-0, and they have outscored their teams, ready for this, 134-49. Let me say that again. 134-49 in 4 games. They made this look entirely too easy. And including the playoffs, since Brock Purdy took over as the starting quarterback last year, and the numbers are downright ridiculous when they have a healthy Purdy, a healthy Christian McCaffrey, and a healthy Deebo Samuel. And you can throw Trent Williams in the mix also. Now, I'm outlining this all down to health because they've got to stay healthy. But listen to these numbers. They have gone 6-0 with the healthy trio of Purdy, McCaffrey, and Samuel. 16-0. Now that everyone wants to make the argument, well, he hasn't played a full season yet. He's got a full season under his belt, and he's still doing things. How do you like them apples? They have outscored teams. You want to hear this ridiculous number? In the 16 games where the trio was healthy, they have outscored teams by a margin, and I can't believe I'm going to read this, 529-239. They've won 12 of those 16 games by at least 13 points. They beat the Cowboys, the Jaguars, and the Eagles. How's this for a combination? 118-32. And these are 3 of the better teams in the league. These are 3 of the better teams in the league. And Purdy has 34 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions, which tells me it's the same thing that I've always thought it would be that will get the 49ers to Las Vegas. They have to stay healthy. And before y'all even open your mouth to say otherwise, Purdy is fully entrenched in the MVP conversation. Now, will he get it? No. I am convinced he will not win the MVP because of the bias that is against him. And that's totally fine. Let the bias rule. While Purdy just keeps putting up gaudy numbers and the 49ers keep winning and the 49ers just keep getting healthier. Oh, by the way, Jawan Jennings was involved last night. Oh, by the way, Deebo Samuel had a couple of carries last night. Oh, by the way, even Elijah Mitchell, and I hate to put the word even because Elijah Mitchell was our savior until we picked up Christian McCaffrey. Elijah Mitchell was carving up that Philadelphia run defense. If there is a flaw to the Philadelphia Eagles, it's their run defense. It was the flaw that was identified against Green Bay 4 years ago, and the 49ers carved that up. They carved it up. And because of all those reasons, and because of the fact that they are healthy, And because of the proof that they laid on Philadelphia last night, the San Francisco 49ers, at least for the coming week, are the best team in the league. How the hell are you going to stop that offense when it's in full motion? How? Tell me how you're going to stop Christian McCaffrey. And if McCaffrey doesn't get you, then Deebo Samuel will get you. And if Deebo Samuel doesn't get you, then of course you got George the Animal Kittle coming at you. This is a team that loves to punch you in the mouth and run the ball downhill. Period. They love to run the ball downhill. Okay? Especially when you have a healthy Trent Williams. All 6'6" and 300 plus pounds coming at you like a freight train. Anybody remember what he did to Green Bay 2 years ago in Lambeau Field? When Kyle Shanahan had the genius to put him in motion and frighten the daylights out of the Packer defense? Y'all don't remember that, do you? Or shall I say you don't want to remember that? I really don't care anymore what y'all are trying to say. And I've been accused so many times of having hatred toward other teams. This is not hatred. This is what my eyes have told me. This is what my eyes have told me. I've watched and covered football for the better part of 40 years. I know what my eyes tell me. And right now, with this week being here, the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the NFL. Period. Now, Dallas, Philadelphia, Kansas City, even Baltimore, we got to see their asses Christmas night, and they are no slouch either. I'm not saying that the Philadelphia Eagles are a slouch. I'm saying that about the Cowboys, and I have no problem saying that about the Cowboys, because with the Cowboys, it's feast or famine. With the Cowboys, it is feast or famine. And if you don't like the fact that I said that, then to the Cowboy fans, I say unto you, prove me wrong. That's all you have to do. Prove me wrong. And since you haven't been able to do it for the past 20 plus years, going on 30, shut up, take your L's, and get better. Okay? Okay. I got more on the 49ers coming up after the halftime break. Jay Spivey will join me. Matter of fact, I may get him on here early so we can talk what people think is the debacle of the college football playoff. And my response to them is, shut up. They got it right. The 4 best teams are in the playoff. End of story. Hour 2 after this.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you talk, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground, and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Everything Boston. I love you, morons. You kids on the block. New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck. Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do two circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck. You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am one half of the tag team called Snowman. Cole Johnson will be along here in just a few minutes. We got Cool McCain's in the house with us. He says, fly Eagles fly. I agree with the hashtag fly Eagles fly. Congratulations on your Super Bowl Santa Clara football team. Not yet, Mr. McCain. We need a rematch with y'all one more time, and it's got to happen in the most important month, and that's the end of January. I got to see y'all one more time. We got to see y'all one more time. All right? And we got to see both teams at full strength and ready to go, because something flipped in that second quarter and just turned the Eagles all the way off. So I'm not taking all those kudos yet. Listen, I've always said, and I will continue to say, and this holds true for the NFC champions, to be the champs, you must unseat the champs. And we haven't unseated y'all yet. I just want another opportunity. Victor Locke in the house with us says, good morning to the Snowman Army. Good morning to you. Cool Breeze McCain is in the house with us. And here's Ryan McCarthy. Sorry if I'm not on today. Potentially game-changing career meeting at 11:30. We have a pre-recorded coffee with McCarthy later this week. McCain responds, according to your fan base, you already won it last night. Yeah, that's that fan base, not this football fan here. I know better. I absolutely know better. All right. And you said it yourself, Mr. McCain. Until we beat y'all in January, this is only a regular season win. And that's all this will be until we get a second shot in January. That's why I'm keeping quiet. Because the last time we saw y'all in January, y'all kicked our ass. So it's going to have to be a year to the day or a year close to the day where we get another shot at you. That's all. That's it, and that's all. So until we beat you guys either in Santa Clara or in Philadelphia one more time, and it counts, I'm not taking any kudos over that. I am not my crazy fan base. I am one man who calls it like he sees it for all the teams that I follow. And I will always continue to do it that way. He says, Victor Locke says, I'm healing my ankles and I'm in the office today. I'm doing all right. I'm okay. I'm good. Good. Glad you're healing your ankles. All right. I got someone in here early. And let's see if we can do this right. I got someone in here early, and we got a lot to talk about because we didn't get a chance to talk to him last week. Jay Spivey is now with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, sir.
Where do you want to start?
Well, I guess we better start with what everybody in the world's talking about is this college football playoff.
I said before the break that the four best teams earned their way in. And
There's
they did.
absolutely no question about that.
And they did. I saw a litany, and I mean this, a litany of hatred toward the CFP. And the reason that litany is there is because they thought they're boo-hooing over Florida State. I'll pose a question that I know you will echo loudly. Who have the Seminoles beaten this year?
The only team they beat of any consequence was LSU.
And how did LSU season turn out?
They finished, what, 4th or 5th in the SEC?
Case rested.
And bear in mind, that was Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day
3
weekend.
months ago. 3 months ago.
And LSU had all kinds of chances to right the ship. They didn't.
And I'm sorry, player availability does matter. And when you're down to your third string quarterback, and anybody who watched that game Saturday night against Louisville, they're granted Florida State's defense is first class.
Yes.
But they cannot score.
They should not have had that much trouble scoring against Louisville. Period.
And people don't want to hear me say this because I'm from the area.
Say it.
The ACC, despite what people want to say in terms of record this year, like head-to-head, is a far inferior conference to the SEC in football. It's not even close.
The ACC are a bunch of frauds. Come
Most
on,
of the
let's
wins the ACC had against the SEC this year were like teams like Vanderbilt. Now, I was at one of those games. Wake Forest killed Vanderbilt.
Yep.
Wake Forest finished 4-8. What does that tell you?
What's to tell you about both of those schools, Wake Forest and Vanderbilt? And it's not far of a cliff that Wake Forest has fallen down from. Remember, 2 years ago, until they lost another shootout, a second consecutive shootout to North Carolina. We'll get to them in just a moment. Until they lost the second consecutive shootout to North Carolina, they were talking about Wake Forest being one of the top 10s in the league and heading toward a playoff berth, and then pow, they get sucker punched by North Carolina again.
Yep. They just Wake Forest. You know, I'm not a homer, but I realize I've been a Wake Forest fan my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
I realize Wake has limitations in football. They're never going to be a powerhouse in football because of their academic standards.
Yep.
It's a very small school. They're in a big conference, but they're a small school.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna get. And Dave Clawson's done a really good job as a head coach, but you're never going to be a consistent winner in football, Wake Forest. You're just not.
No, you're not. No, you're not. And again, I go back
and for them to have done. I believe they went to like 7 or 8 straight bowls. That's remarkable, Wake Forest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not going to one this year.
They're not. They're most definitely not.
They're not going to one this year. And tell me how, since we're talking about the ACC and how much they blow chunks, tell me what happened to North Carolina this year in football and basketball, because my next sentence is going to stun a lot of Tar Heel fans, and you and I know a couple of them. North Carolina's basketball season is done. Period.
Not according to what I read yesterday. They're still concerned about what Duke's doing. I mean, why does Duke even matter in early December?
I wish I had an answer to that. We still have 4 months
left in the season.
Yep. I wish I had an answer to that.
What are the so-called fans going to say if Duke wins the national championship in April?
They will have nothing to say. Well, they'll have a lot to say.
Well, Davis is doing a really good job. What in his resume in the last 2 years has told you he's done a good job?
There's one big failure on his resume as far as I'm concerned, and that came April 4th, 2022.
Well, again, I go back to they worried about Duke too much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we beat Duke. That's our national championship. We don't care about Kansas.
And they should have cared about Kansas.
We don't care about Kansas at all. We beat our team. Will Krzyzewski's last game. That's our national championship. It's the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my entire life.
And I continue to hear more.
Numbers always said, you hear it over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you play the games? You play to win
You
the
play
games.
to win the games. You play to win championships. Thank you, Herman
You
Edwards.
don't play to finish second to Kansas and not care.
And they had the game sewn up in the first half. They were up, what, 17 in the first half?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They were up 17 in the first half.
That mentality makes no sense to me. Nor does it make any sense to me why you're so concerned about Duke in November and December.
Well, according to a certain apologist we both know, there are
Well, that
some.
apologist has been going off the last couple of weeks about said Blue Devil team.
And he won't talk about Kentucky getting beat by UNC Wilmington.
Nope.
I remember when you sent me that. I looked up the score, and then I realized what you said. And I said, "There's no way he's going to talk about this because it doesn't concern his Tar Heels. It doesn't paint them in a good light. But when have we ever painted them in a good light? Because they got no light to be painted in."
Well, they have pretty much every advantage in the world at Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And like you were saying a minute ago, how did they go 8-4 in football? They have a ton of talent. They've been 8-4 in a sorry conference.
And two of those,
they lost to Georgia Tech and Virginia. Virginia didn't even go to a bowl.
You went where I was going. Two of those 4 losses in conference were to Virginia and to Georgia Tech. They lost to Virginia at Kenan Stadium in a game they should not have lost at all. Period. Point blank. End of story. They were favored. What did Playmaker tell me? They were favored by at least 15 going into that game, and they lost by 4. That told me right there their season was over.
Now, I've never been in terms of a coach, I've never been a huge Mac Brown fan. But I will say his coming back, I've been saying this for years because y'all follow high school football, as you well know.
Yep.
I follow a lot of people don't know this, and I've told you this over your show for years now. North Carolina is a really good high school football state. I see it every Friday night. But nobody ever knew it because all the good players were leaving the state to go to bigger schools.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to Carolina. They were not going to NC State, some of the other schools. They were going to Penn State and Clemson and South Carolina and Georgia and all these other schools.
They're leaving to get noticed.
Now, at least some of them are staying here because he's kind of put up a fence around the state and said, you can't get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it should have been years ago. But Carolina never put an emphasis on football. It was always about basketball.
Always basketball. They built their success around basketball and never around football, except for 1 year that I remember when Mac Brown was the coach. And I want to say the year was 1997.
That was his last year there before he went to Texas.
Yep. 1997 was Mac Brown's best year at North Carolina. And one of the games I remember was a comeback win against, well, what do you know? Virginia. Down 20-3 at the half and somehow raced all the way back and put 45 up in that game.
Yep. Whether it be football, basketball, or any other sport, they ought to win in everything.
Mm-hmm.
They only care about one sport.
And that's basketball. And that is basketball. I saw it myself in the 2 years I lived in North Carolina and the 2 years I had you on my show while I was down there. Hell, I got that when I did my show in Durham for the better part of 2 months. For the better part of 2 months, I saw nothing but North Carolina fans come into the Starbucks where I was stationed. And all they could talk about was Carolina basketball. That was all the memorabilia they were wearing. I'm like, hello, you're kind of in the midst of football season right now.
They don't care. Don't care.
No, they don't.
And I have nothing against basketball whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it could be the middle of September and football will have just started and they're talking about basketball.
Yeah, that's been true.
I have a real good friend who's a Carolina fan. We go to the same Super Bowl party every year. We've been friends for years. We used to work with each other. And he's a big Carolina fan. He went to Carolina. And we go to the Super Bowl party, and right in the middle of a great game. A lot of people were there enjoying ourselves, and they'll just start bringing up basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina basketball. You know, remember in 1975 ACC tournament? I was like, I don't care. I'm trying to watch the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Exactly. The same the same apologist who tried to make my show a Carolina-based show was feeding me stuff to talk about on the air, and finally I started ripping up whatever he would send to me.
Well, you remember he got mad at me because I ripped Hubert Davis all the time, calling him a JV basketball coach.
Which
and
I find no lie. I find no lie with that statement.
It's true.
I find no lie with your statement about what kind of a coach Hubert Davis is.
He can't say that. But I was on the show.
Not only did he yell at you, he yelled at me. About a week later, he yelled at me, and this is something y'all didn't know. A week later, he yelled at me for having you on my program. And he's the one that brought us together.
Yep.
Idiot. Just an idiot. Jay Spivey joining me here on the Monday program. Speaking of Monday, how bad is it? Well, I already know the answer to this question, but I will couple it with this. How much worse is it going to get for the Carolina Panthers?
I don't know if they can get a whole lot worse this season unless they just literally fall off a cliff. I mean, they are actually somewhat competitive yesterday. Not that it matters against the Bucks aren't a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But you just look out there. How are they going to score? They have nobody who can score.
They have nothing. They have nothing on that offense.
No, your best receiver is Adam Thielen, who's 30-some years old.
What does that tell you?
They have no offensive line. They have no receivers. They have no tight end. No running back.
Mm-hmm.
And the quarterback, we don't know if he's any good or not.
And the best weapon they had at running back, they let go to San Francisco for a song.
Well, I mean, a lot of Carolina Panther fans are blaming them. I really don't have a problem with that because they need to rebuild, and he was the only piece they really had available.
Yeah.
But they screwed around and did the wrong thing with their number one pick.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you look at how two teams are compared this year because of how they draft. Look at the difference in the Panthers and the Texans, how they're playing this year.
Yes, sir.
The Texans just sat there and waited. They didn't. I don't know whether they were going to draft Stroud or not.
Mm-hmm.
And they had another number one pick. Look how it's worked out for them this year because they drafted well.
Because they drafted who they needed.
Grass for straws. They traded their number one pick.
Mm-hmm.
They have no pick this year.
And guess who has that pick again?
That would be the Chicago Bears.
And we all know how that story is going to end.
The Bears are going to elevate.
Mm-hmm. They're going to mess that up again.
And you're not talking about this a million times. I don't think DJ Moore is the best receiver in the world, but he's a whole lot better than what they have now, and he's a whole lot better than what the Bears had.
Mm-hmm. Yes, on both counts.
And the Bears put that in there. They were not even going to make that trade without DJ Moore.
No, they weren't.
Why did Panthers fall for that?
Because it's the Panthers.
This is David Tepper. David Tepper. This is a typical David Tepper move.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it involved? Let your football people run the football team.
Goes back to the question you said. Why is David Tepper sticking his nose where it doesn't belong?
I told you I don't watch full games unless they're like single games, like the Sunday night game or Monday night game.
Mm-hmm.
But I was watching Redstone yesterday, and they kept showing the Panthers game, and every few plays they would show Tepper and his wife in the suite in Tampa. I don't care what David Tepper's doing.
Is it me?
He's one of the NFL. What's he done with it?
Nothing. What front are they trying to present by showing him and his wife in the suite in Tampa?
Well, it's just like wait till Sunday night when the Cowboys and Eagles are on. How many times are they going to show Jerry?
Oh, God.
And you think it's bad on that game? Wait till December 30th when Jimmy Johnson's inducted in the Ring of Honor and Cowboys. How many times are they going to shoot Jerry for that?
A sickening amount of times.
When Jerry should have done it years ago.
He keeps Jimmy Johnson around. They have more Super Bowls to their name.
Yeah, they would have many more.
He keeps Jimmy Johnson around because Jimmy Johnson was the only coach that could solve George Seifert. And solve him he did twice.
It was not Barry.
No, it was not Barry Switzer at all. It was not Barry Switzer at all. In fact, Seifert ran him over.
Yep.
Seifert ran him over. You keep Jimmy Johnson around, you're swimming in more championships than you have now. And the night they retire Jimmy, and the night they put Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor is going to be sickening.
Well, yes, it will, but it's finally going to be a wrong is going to be righted.
Yeah, that part I'm excited about. That part I'm excited about because I've always been a fan of Jimmy Johnson. I have always been a fan of Jimmy Johnson.
I mean, in many ways, he was the architect of that dynasty.
Mm-hmm. And Jerry Jones never gave him the credit for it.
Well, you remember it. I'm sure you remember it. When they first drafted Aikman, they were terrible. The Cowboys were rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
They were terrible.
1-15.
All the draft capital they had.
And that was the purpose of why Jimmy Johnson made the moves that he did. He stockpiled the draft capital.
Herschel Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Look how much that Herschel Walker trade helped.
It got him an offensive line. It got him a kick-ass tight end. It got him Emmitt Smith. All right. Do we have to go any further? It got him Russell Maryland, a Chicagoan. And I remember Russell Maryland. It got him Russell. I mean, who'd have known to draft someone out of Emporia State by the name of Leon Lett?
Leon Lett. And I cannot stand the Cowboys. I root against them every week, but I saw how well Jimmy Johnson did.
Yes. And that's me all over. That's me. Look, that's me all over.
Not only that, he won everywhere he was. I mean, he won at Oklahoma State. He won at Miami. He won at Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere.
And yet, old Jerry Jones's ego got in the doggone way.
Of course it did.
Now he shows a little bit of remorse. Really?
See, the only real difference between Jerry and David Tepper is that although David is a wannabe, is that the Cowboys fans will not tolerate losing.
No, they won't.
The Panthers, although this year's, the Cowboys would never allow a team to be this bad and just a clown show like the Panthers are right now. Jerry understands that.
Let me take you
on. They're unwatchable.
To say the least, they're unwatchable. And you remember the 2 years I was down there, I had Mick Mixon on my show every single week. Mick Mixon, the retired voice of the Carolina Panthers, he was not afraid to say how he felt.
And that's why he's no longer there.
He was not afraid to say how he felt about the team that he covered on a weekly basis. And he asked me before we even got the weekly segment started, he says, would you mind if I spoke the truth? I said, bring it on. And I had people coming after me saying, well, you shouldn't have Mick Mixon on your program anymore. Why the hell not? Mick told it like it should have been told every week for 2 seasons. Then it was a thrill and an honor to have him on.
Yep.
Which kind of explains why I can't place the new voice right now. never got back to me.
Oh yeah, the
Anish Shroff?
Anish Shroff, yeah.
Which explains why Anish Shroff never got back to me.
And he's not ever going to.
Probably. No, he's not. He's not. All right.
And I don't take this negative. I don't mean this negative towards you at all. He looks at you as not big time enough. Now, if somebody big time, NFL Network or somebody call him, he'd be all over it.
Oh yeah, he would. And yet Mick Mixon took the time out of his week each and every week to come on my show, even though he could have easily looked at me and said, well, he's not big time enough. You know how much fun Mick and I had on the show each week?
Anish doesn't say it that way.
Mm-mm. If it ain't helping him, and if it's not helping his numbers, then he's not going to respond. And I figured that out after I wrote to him on LinkedIn. He said thanks, and then said nothing else.
Of course.
But I will always respect those who come on my program and speak truly about the programs, about the teams that they follow, including.
Well, don't forget the guy before Mick Mixon, Bill Rosinski. He was fired for the same reason.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that.
Play-by-play guy.
I remember that. Here's the crazy part about this. Guess who made the connection between myself and Mick Mixon? Yeah.
Who?
Oh, you know who.
Oh, Mr. Apologist.
I took full advantage of that and ran.
I'm imagine he's not on his show now.
Are you surprised? I mean,
it's not about.
That was I will never forget. That was one of the first things that Mick asked me. He said, would you mind if I spoke from the heart? Bring it on, man. That's what I love.
That's what you want.
That's what I desire. That's what I desire on. That's what I desire on my program. Had it for 10 years now. I've had Robert Ford from the Astros, Bill Schoening from the Spurs, Chuck Swirsky from the Chicago Bulls, Mick Mixon, former voice of the Carolina Panthers. Stop. Come on, y'all.
I mean, whether you're a talk show for a said team or a said league or a said sport, whatever it may be.
Right.
You're not there unless you're working for the NFL Network or MLB or what. You're not there propping them up. You're there to speak whatever you think is the truth.
Mm-hmm. And I've always spoken the truth about the teams that I cover. I got yelled at earlier today by someone who thought that and thought I was going to not point out anything critical about what happened in Philadelphia yesterday. I said, obviously you haven't listened to me. But before we get on out of here for the day, let's have a little fun. Thanksgiving Day, 1993 in Dallas. Remember this?
Game. Will it go in the win column to Dallas or Miami? Stoyanovich will decide it as he will try this field goal, which will be 40 yards. 40 yards. Doug Peterson to hold. Blocked. The Cowboys will win.
Wait a minute.
Where was in the end zone? No one covered it, and Miami did. That could be a touchdown if Miami has covered it.
A Dallas player touched the ball, and then the Dolphins went on and recovered it.
It's on the 1-yard line. It's not in the end zone. It's in the 1-yard line.
They're going to sort it out.
And there's 3 seconds left on the clock.
92, Tolbert gets his hand up in the air and knocks the ball. No, it's not 92, it's 97.
Jimmy Jones.
Now someone touches the football here. Watch what happens. It's Leon Lett. No!
Oh, Lett, who is haunted by his Super Bowl misplay, and the ball goes into the end zone. They say it was touched at the 1-yard line.
If that were, if we had instant replay, that's a touchdown. The momentum carried the ball in there, and Leon left. No.
Now, with 3 seconds left, Stoyanovich and Peterson are clearing a path. This is less than an extra point. And with 3 seconds left, Miami is that close to pulling this one out.
Not Leon Lett.
Bob Trumpy had the best reaction to that. It's Leon Lett. No. That's like when you see big old Leon Lett coming, and I'm not a Cowboy fan in the least, but I respect that 90s dynasty of the Cowboys, period. But when you see him coming, you scream at the television going, don't do it, man.
I don't know if anybody who's a fan of the NFL was living back then. I don't know how you cannot remember that game.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Jay Spivey joining us for some Spivey notes. Thank you, my friend. A pleasure as always. And I will talk to you next Monday.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, this abbreviated version of Snowman in the Morning is going to draw to a close. I want to say thank you for hanging with me as I work to make myself better. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they're simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We'll record Coffee with McCarthy later this week. I'm going to get a nap before I go to work. And Leon Lett to close us out. So long, everybody.
Game. Will it go in the win column to Dallas or Miami? Stoyanovich will decide it as he will try this field goal, which will be 40 yards. 40 yards. Doug Peterson to hold. Blocked. The Cowboys will win.
Wait a minute.
Where was in the end zone? No one covered it, and Miami did. That could be a touchdown if Miami has covered it.
A Dallas player touched the ball, and then the Dolphins went on and recovered it.
It's on the 1 yard line. It's not in the end zone. It's in the 1 yard line.
They're going to sort it out.
And there's 3 seconds left on the clock.
92. Tolbert gets his hand up in the air and knocks the ball. No, it's not 92. It's 97.
Jimmy Jones.
Now someone touches the football here. Watch what happens. It's Leon Lett. No!
Oh, Lett, who is haunted by his Super Bowl misplay, and the ball goes into the end zone. They say it was touched at the 1 yard line.
If we had instant replay, that's a touchdown. The momentum carried the ball in there, and Leon Lett. No.
Now, with 3 seconds left, Stoyanovich and Peterson are clearing a path. This is less than an extra point, and with 3 seconds left, Miami is that close to pulling this one out.
Not Leon Lett.
Legal in golf, but it is here.
The field goal was touched beyond the line by the receiving team. The kicking team then recovered the ball in the field of play and slid into the end zone. However, since the ball was still a kick, it's down when the kicking team recovered the ball. The kicking team gets awarded the ball at the spot in the field of play, first down.
And the Dolphins, as if they received an early holiday present, cheer on the sidelines. The Dolphins pull it out. 16-14. Game over.
And before I go, this actually happened. Don't ask me how. I just know Ryan sent me this gem. I'm going to sleep. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.